What's up, guys? It's Team Ubermensch with another clan analysis of one of the top 5 bosses, and this time we're doing Aqua Force. Aqua Force is a set with a clan that started back in Set 8 Blue Storm Armado. Ooh.
They was already talking about the sub-clan even before it was a sub-clan.
Yeah, they were warning you. But anyways, Aqua Force is a clan that specializes on getting multiple attacks in order to unlock various skills, whether it comes from retiring rear guards, drawing cards, or simply resetting additional attacks.
Yes.
It's one of the, in terms of Vanguard, on paper, it's one of the best clans, but in practicality, it can also be one of the worst clans.
Yes.
Because it's very dependent on your opening hand in order for you to really get where you want to go.
Not only that, it recommends playing a lot of stand triggers, and stand triggers can be one of the most awkwardest triggers because most of your rear guards are going to be rested once the Vanguard finally attacks.
That's true and all, but at the same time, it's also one of the few clans that can actually literally play rainbow triggers and do just fine.
No, of course, of course.
So it's like, without further ado, aside from that, because Aqua Force, it's a rewarding clan if you stick with it. Not only that, it's also one of the most techie clans.
It is. Like, everybody's trigger lineup is different. Like, my trigger lineup is different than Rucker's. Like, I'm playing 3 stands. I think you're playing 6 stands right now.
I'm tweaking around with it, honestly.
Like, it's like I've known people that play 12 stands. I've seen everything. Like,
yeah, Aqua Force Mad Stand. That's also been a thing.
Like, everyone's Aqua Force idea is like out of all the clans, Aqua Force is probably like the most diverse when it comes to like techie.
Because it's not really a standard build, because what everyone sees as standard. It'll get one thing straight. It's one of the clans that has the most shit you can actually play with.
Yes.
There aren't really that too many bad cards on Aqua Force, so to speak. But without further ado, we'll start with the top 5 boss monsters. Starting with number 5 at Blue Wave Dragon Tetra Drive Dragon. Particularly reason he's being on the list for one, he's viable back again because they have a D limiter right now. But those remember what he does. At the end of the battle, he attacked the Vanguard. If it's the second battle that turn, you counter blast. At the end of that turn, he gets counter blast 2. Choose Aqua Force units and drop them. At the end of the battle, the rear guard attack in the 4th battle, you pay the cost by counter blast 2, drop 2 cards, and you restand them. And then he also has the counter blast 1, give him 2k power.
Yes.
This is one of the oldest skills that started making Aqua Force viable, because it gave them a card that could pretty much be considered a restanding Vanguard.
Yes, because honestly, when everyone thinking like of Aqua Force, why weren't they getting a restanding Vanguard when they're all about restanding? Like, it only made sense. And not only that, he would have been a little bit more viable. Just the set that he came out with, he was like not one of the best decks at the time, because
that's also when Elite Joker first came out, and they lock a rear guard, you pretty much lose.
Aqua Force rather the rear guards get retired by Narcom and Kagero or spun by Gear Chronicle than having them locked. Like, any Aqua Force player will tell you that, because they need to get the 4th attack off. Like, if they can't get the 4th attack off, it's just really awkward.
And so to speak, they have an easier time doing it now, but even back then you had options with some of probably the best grade 2s in the game, notably Tidal Assault, who is still to this day basically an Aqua Force stable, because he starts the moment you hit grade 2.
I've never seen people play less than 3 Tidal Assaults, and most people I know play 4.
Exactly. Yeah,
like, people that play 3 even regret it. Like, I was like a 4th one. There's a reason why it's a $16 rare.
Yes, and not only that, he also makes live to one of the best 4 runners we have in the game to this day, and Bubble Edge Draco Kid.
Bubble Edge Draco Kid, and not even to mention the Blue Storm one.
Yes. But particular Bubble Edge Draco Kid, you put into a soul, choose a rear guard. Choose Aqua Force.
Unit.
Yeah, this is unit. And that unit gets, when it attacks the Vanguard, the 4th battle more, draw a card. Tidal Assault already means you have 2 attacks by himself.
Not to mention, if you use the new starter, if you combo him with both starters, you can get 3 attacks, and not to mention Lambros.
Yeah, but that needs generation break. But we'll go a little over that later. The reason Tetra Drive is low as number 5, mainly because of the card that made him a threat back in when he first started, is still actually later on in our list.
Yes.
Number 4, we have Blue Storm Supreme Dragon Glory Maelstrom.
This is the original Glory Maelstrom skill. When we hear us say the Glory Maelstrom skill, we're talking about this guy. Like, you guys were not there. A lot of people were not playing during Set 9. During Set 9, like, this was top tier. It was this, Vermilion, and Golds.
Yeah, hands down. Basically, for those who remember his skill, he attacks a Vanguard, counter blast 1, gains 5k power, and your opponent can't call grade 1 higher. But keep in mind, he would be higher on my list if it weren't for the fact that he's ultimate break.
Yes.
And keep in mind,
No one likes
he doesn't
ultimate.
work with the delimiters. Let me repeat that. He can't work with the delimiters because they say LB4. So that's a particular reason he's.
Well, they had to do it mostly because of the world line was Link Joker. There was a reason for that, and not only that, could you imagine Ezel?
If Ezel could be used as a delimiter.
Oh my God, I would just stay at like 3 or 4 damage every game. I would never go farther than that.
Yeah, but even at that fact, he still gets better on later on, mainly because you have the Aqua, you have the Blue Storm crit coming out, which pretty much means with him and that crit, he becomes unguardable unless you intercept. But
Yes.
with that Aqua Force, you're stopping off rear guards either way from the opponent.
Not only that, guys, that crit, you can't, if you stride with Lambert, you do know you can just boost it, and he's still Maelstrom in his name. So don't forget that. You know, that crit's very deadly.
So basically, Lambros becomes 26 plus and can't be guarded with grade zeros.
Well, he's 30k actually.
Exactly. I said 26k plus.
If you're a 10k Vanguard, just clench.
Yeah, clinch is not the word I would use, but sure. And number 3 is our newest boss in Salve. Once surpasses the Storm.
Which is why we have him in sleeves.
Yes. His Generation Break 2 skill. When he attacks a Vanguard, if it's a 4th battle turn or more, he gets a crit, and the opponent can't guard with grade zeros from their hand.
So they have to perfect guard him. So he's just as bad as Vague. And actually, you know what he is? He's freaking Ragnarok, except smaller.
He's more irritating than Vague only because
He has a crit.
Not even that, he has a crit. It's a matter of this Aqua Force. And when they're enabling 3rd and 4th and 5th attacks, their rear guards are also getting skills from this. Because like this still goes back to title. It goes back to title assault. Or even the friend that came alongside him in Magnum Assault.
Oh my God, Magnum Assault made this deck 20 times better. Like, I hate the fact that he's like he's what you call again? They mistranslate him.
Yeah,
And he's Cannonblast 1 because it's like when you read him, he says you don't Cannonblast. I'm like, oh my God, this is so free.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that?
They actually mistranslated him, both him and Salvas. But Salvas has a stride. His on stride skill is when you stride, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets when this unit attacks a Vanguard. What it should be is when your units attack a Vanguard.
Yes.
And it's the 3rd and it's the 4th battle or more. Choose 3 of your opponent's rear guards. The opponent chooses one of them and retires it.
Yes.
So when you're starting to get those 4th and 5th attacks, you're not only pressing your opponent with more damage, you're also picking off their boosters or even their interceptors.
Yep.
Just to cause them a lot more havoc than they already have. And then
Number 2.
Number 2 on the list.
Transcore
Blue Fight
Dragon.
Transcore. Transcore's on this list because
He's still viable.
he is.
Like when you guys already seen my deck, my Transcore deck, and you guys can already tell it's really viable. Like I was telling everybody, break rides can come back. The meta has slowed down that now break rides can come back, and with delimiters they're even scarier. Transcore, what made Transcore so good? Like Transcore was amazing during set 11. Transcore, like set 9, because remember we swapped set 9. Set 10, and I mean after set 9 we got set 11 here in America. So Aqua Force was still viable because you would just break right on Maelstrom or worse, break right on Glory Maelstrom.
Or in this case, what made it viable was set 13 came out.
Yes, set 13 gave it a resetting Vanguard.
Transcore, Tetradrive.
By the way, Transcore's skill still works during the first and second attack for Tetradrive. So if you're at 5 damage, you're losing a minimum of 11 cards. You get to block every single attack, not including triggers.
And not only that, and if you don't let him block, he gets a free crit. And then you can't guard him.
Yep.
And it's for that particular reason that he's viable with any of your other Aqua Force bosses, because as long as you're getting those attacks off and playing Aqua Force properly, he's always gonna forever be a threat for that particular reason.
And he's one of the few break rides that you can just keep break right on break right and it's still like a threat to your
You
opponent.
get a skill off just from saying, hey, look at me go. And our number 1 is Blue Storm Karma Dragon Maelstrom Reverse.
He is the best unit for this
The
deck.
particular reason the regular Maelstrom isn't on the list is because of
He
him.
does it better.
Because base regular Maelstrom says when he hits a Vanguard, he can play this paid skill. In Maelstrom's case,
We're sorry, Maelstrom.
if he does, in Maelstrom Reverse's case, 4th battle or more, if he did not hit after counterblast and lock the unit, you retire a unit and you draw a card. Aqua Force one of the main issues Aqua Force has had over the years is the fact once they lose rear guards, they can't generate advantage to get cards back.
Yep.
Maelstrom Reverse is one of the original cards that actually started that trend, allowed him to do that. But not only that, you would think, well, I want to block this card anyway. He swings with 5k more than crit. So generally, if you swing with him from 4 damage, you're either going, I'm going to take it, or I'm going to just lose a rear guard. But some of the cards that actually enable things like that to happen for either fourth battles, one of the original grade 2 bosses being Stormrider Basil. The only one I like.
Back when everyone was a 10k Vanguard, my poor Ezel. No.
But Stormrider Basil, he attacks, first battle that turn, he gains 10k, then you exchange with the unit behind him. So if you're playing your 12k attackers back then, or even just other units to get enable attacks off, he just goes, hey, this is gonna make your first and second attack right here. Or if you were just being a douchebag, you play Will Assault or Wee Assault. But when you use a skill, you're going Wee. Counterblast 1 at the end of the unit that he boosted. You exchange Counterblast 1, exchange 2 units. Not just his same column, from anywhere on the field.
Yep. He really helped a lot during the Link Joker matchup.
Yes.
Because you could leave him behind like a lock column, and I mean, yeah.
He still makes me wet. Hey, don't cry to me.
Can't cry to Rucker.
I can try.
It won't work.
Actually, that's maybe a weird example. But it's just a general example of how it would be. Actually, yeah.
Wouldn't it be better if he was
Yeah.
Tell him to play it, I told you. Put a great reminder in that asshole.
No, that's not even matter. It's just for a general example.
Fuck them, they gotta learn the hard way.
Yeah, I know. But in this case, so with Basil, skill, exchange about him assault. You swing with this, Counterblast 1. You exchange here. That's already two
attacks
for this. Then Magnum skill, restand. This is already a third battle. Then you go for the Magnum, that's 4 battles right there. Or if you're on this, you can always go with the Maelstrom hit, the Counterblast, lock, you would Counterblast, rest, lock, and then you would still have him swinging with 16k and a crit by himself.
Yep.
Not to mention, since you're playing rainbow triggers most of the time in Aqua Force anyway, you're going to be hitting triggers to either
restand that column over there or empower it up.
Or if they no guard him, you swing, hit a crit, and they go, oh, I didn't think you was going to do that.
Yeah.
And then not to mention, and then to not forget two of the probably more prominent starters in Aqua Force. You have the new guy from the trial deck.
So good. So good.
Generation Break 1, you put him into the soul, choose one of your rear guards. At the end of that battle, attack the Vanguard, restand it, he gains 2k power.
Yep.
And Magnum Assault by himself, that's 3 attacks.
Yep. And not to mention when Lambros comes out, that's 4.
When Lamb broke, you mean? Because when you playing him, you're going for both. And then the main Blue Storm Forerunner, you pretty much play as Blue Storm Cadet Marios. When he attacks the Vanguard, after you boost it during the third battle of war for that turn, check top 5, search out a Maelstrom. Which is why these two and the Belt Maelstrom are still viable. Preferably these two, because they're actually searchable now, which is another thing Aqua Force lacked as well. They lacked the means to actually get to their boss monsters or even the cards they want. So they actually did get a huge benefit from Stride format, which I actually go over later when we start doing our G2 deck profiles.
Yeah.
I can't wait for Lambroke and High Tide Sniper.
It's only like 2 or 3 weeks from now.
I can't wait.
2 weeks.
Bar was going to fucking punish the shit out of
No, next week.
No, it's a sneak peek.
But alright, guys, that sums up our Cardfight analysis for Aqua Force. That's Team Mitch, and we're signing out.
Woo!